I've been looking a while for videos on this, and I found a few that finally, actually in recent months after I actually bought this, because I'm going to be talking about the OC White Ultima mic arm, and that's one of those broadcast quality mics. And I'm also going to be talking about, which is pretty much a knockoff, the Neewer MS002, and it has that, the gas arm spring where it lifts, and you can easily raise your mic up and down. I wish I had the Elgato low profile pro mic arm, but I don't, and I'm not going to purchase that because I've already purchased the Elgato low profile mic, the one that doesn't have the gas spring, and it sags a lot. I was very disappointed, and I just don't want to buy another mic arm from them just yet. And I've also been looking at this OC White for quite some time. It's ridiculously expensive, at least I think it is. And I picked mine up used, but there's still a few caveats to that. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the difference between these mic arms. So one of them is the OC White it's really nice. I can raise this mic arm up and down with a pinky. Okay, the Neewer, it's a little bit longer, but it takes a bit more effort to lift this. I mean, I'm not struggling to lift it, but ideally I'm going to be doing this with two hands, okay? Because eventually, if I keep doing this, I can see the mic arm is shifting some things on the table, okay? So, but it's super cheap. This runs about and the gas spring, the non-gas spring, the Elgato, it's a nice mic arm, but my problem with it was it doesn't spring up and down, so you either have to loosen this and raise it up and tighten it in place, or you lower it down, tighten it, or you could tighten it good enough and you press it into place like this. But the problem was, if you got it into place, eventually it just started to sag. Okay, and that always irritated me. So I actually, after that happened, I did use it for a long time, but I always hated the sag on this. And I imagine the other is a lot better from what I've seen. And it has a gas arm in there instead of this, where you have to tighten it yourself. And ideally, my guess for most people, that's probably going to be the best buy. That's probably going to be, spoiler alert, I have never touched one of those, but my guess is that's probably going to be the best buy for most people, because this one is just this OC White Ultima is just cost prohibitive. But I picked one up used. For me, the deciding factor was when you lift the mic arm, you have a mic on here and it lifts up, it moves in motion with the mic arm. This one has this a parallel something reflex, whatever you call it, where it remains pointed in one direction. So if I want to lower it or raise it, it remains in the same position. And I'll have to look up the word. Maybe I'll put it down there. There is a term for it. And that was for me, for my decision. I don't know about the quality between the arms, but I can guarantee you that this one is much superior quality than this Neewer. That Neewer costs about between $60 and $70. I think I paid $66 for it. This one used, I paid $225. And that does not come, this is the major caveat, it does not come with the clamp to hold it to your desk. That costs separate. I would have bought one of these probably 2 years ago, but I ended up, when I got it in my shopping cart, I was buying it used then, and then it said I still needed to purchase the desk clamp, and the desk clamp used was $50. So that's what put me off of this thing for a very long time. And I did a lot of research trying to figure out So first, at one point, I actually tried to build mine, and then they came out with this Neewer, but I'd already purchased the Elgato. But I was never happy with the Elgato, and so I bought the Neewer, and it's okay. Actually, I bought the Ultima before I got the Neewer, just because I was very curious to compare these two, because at the time I hadn't seen any comparison between these two mic arms. So, but now I found a few, and I'll put links to the ones that I've seen. But I still haven't seen. I don't think I've seen anyone which is what I want to see, a comparison of all three, but the one with the gas mic arm, and I'm not gonna buy one of those because I'm happy with this. I'm good with this. And the big key for me with this one was I done a lot of research, and I searched for mic arms. I mean, for the clamps, to find out if one of them would work, if it would work with another mic arm, and I mean with another clamp. I believe, but I can't guarantee that it will work with a Rode PSA 1. That was one of the things I heard, but nothing's going to be a perfect fit, because on the mic arm they have this extra little piece that fits in, so I don't think you'll ever get a perfect fit. But you can see this works just fine for me. I have no problem with it. You can find you can get the measurements, and I will put them in the screen here. I don't remember them offhand, but I had an old OC White mic arm, and I checked the measurements, and I found out, and it looked like it might work. So I took a chance, and I ordered this used Ultima mic arm, and it works perfectly fine. I mean, the clamp that I have is silver, so it kind of stands out, but I have a nice quality arm, and again, I'm really happy with it. But I wish I hadn't bought the other, the other Elgato. I wish I'd waited for the other one, because I believe that one runs about $200. What I ended up spending on this OC White was about $225. I had an old mic arm, and it was an old OC White with a mic arm with overhead with the built-in cable, and the cable went bad. And I know you can go through some hassle and replace the cable, but it's just been sitting in a box under my desk for a number of years now. This thing new, and I have this special head on here. This is different. This is a Triad Orbit M2. This is a separate piece. That was about $50, although I got that used for about $25. But anyway, this thing runs new for $431. $431. And I mean, well, to be honest, even now with this at $231, my microphone costs about $100. That's a Shure SM58. I know that's kind of backwards, but my ears aren't that great, so I can't hear the difference. But I can certainly feel the difference between this and a cheap mic arm. So all in all, I do like it. One thing I don't like is if I bring this out here, I can unscrew this piece and I can tilt the mic, and this doesn't grip enough. So I need to keep this. Standing straight up. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the strength to point out at an angle, which is fine. But that's one of the things I don't like about it. One of the things that I think about the Elgato that will be a nice thing is it has a bit more reach, and because like this, the Ultima locks out at a 45-degree angle, so this is where it locks out for me, whereas the Elgato, if I crank that up, it gets a bit more height. Now I'm using the Elgato low profile mic arm, and it goes completely vertical. This one doesn't have the gas spring in it, so I don't know if the other one can go quite vertical, but I'm sure it will still get you more height regardless, because it's just a longer arm. This isn't a very in-depth review. I'm not typically a reviewer kind of person. What I do is, if there's something I like, I'll talk about it. I just want to talk about it and share my thoughts on it. And I also I just hadn't seen anything out there very much on these. Again, there's a few. I know there's Tom Buck and there's another
Curtis Judd.
His name slips me. He's a voiceover artist. He recently talked about the OC White Ultima, and so I was very happy to see that. But the thing is, I'd already purchased this summer before when I saw those. Anyway, I'd been wanting to talk about this, and I also wanted to talk about how I was able to pick it up used and the problems that I had how I refused to pay for that desk clamp. There's also another thing. One thing that's a downside about this mic arm is I've heard people complain about this. The OC White has a cheap plastic cover in one portion right here. They don't understand why that wouldn't be metal. But overall, if you look at the video that I'm showing you here, you can see that this is the quality of it is quite significant. I believe the OC White comes with a couple of attachments and some Allen screws, and this one comes, I believe this was with the Neewer. The Elgato I've had quite a while, so I don't remember what was in those bags. You have to go find an unboxing video to see that. I mean, this is nice and quiet. Again, this one two-handed, but it does work. And again, this one's $60, and I believe this Elgato was about $100, but this was without the gas arm, and I believe theirs runs for about $200. So for $200, you can get the Elgato Pro mic arm, and for $179. This one $430. I'm guessing that the Elgato will be the right call from most people, and I like the look of it very much. I like the look of both of them, but I like the cleaner look of the Elgato. I just really like this how the mic stays level when I raise it up and down. And from what I'd seen, I trusted that this would have a nice smooth motion, whereas the Elgato, just because of my experience with the first one, I was a little hesitant. But I'm sure it's perfectly fine, and that's probably my guess what would be the best for most people. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now here I just wanted to put some parting comments. As you can see, I'm pushing this down a little harder. It's a little difficult to handle. I think it might be a little bit easier when there's a microphone on the arm, but it's still not as buttery smooth as the OC White. And here I'm just showing how you can how you attach the cables. I'm attaching the piece, and so you can see, I mean, I don't really need to say much about it as far as what the way the cables look. Now, again, one of the things some people complained about is that top piece that goes on there is plastic, and they were surprised that it wasn't metal, or it just feels kind of flimsy. And just showing how I'm pressing the cable underneath there, you just sort of press it and it snaps under. And one thing I did want to note is you'll see the clamp there. That's an old OC White. I was looking for an old video, and I stumbled across one that shows someone using this with a PSA 1. So look for that on the description below. All right, so here you can see me taking this is off of the older Rode. I mean, there's like 3 versions of this. There was the original, and then they tweaked it a little bit, and this one doesn't have the gas arm. And speaking of gas arms, I'm not 100% sure, but when I try to figure out I believe this is pneumatic, and so is the Neewer. But when I look, I believe that the Ultima, the OC White, says that it is a spring and not pneumatic. I'm not sure. I saw something that also said that the pneumatic would possibly be more durable long run than the gas spring because it doesn't lose the gas. Here you can see the quality but one thing to note, I believe the cable on the newer version will attach underneath. And if you're really thinking about these and you're on the fence, make sure you check out the other videos that I have links to in the comments, and because I find them very helpful. And Curtis Judd actually owned the Ultima for several years, and he said that considering the price difference, he would likely go with the newest Elgato, the Elgato Wave Pro, if he was making that purchase today. Tom Buck, he reviewed the Ultima in another. I have 3 videos of his down in the comments, but at one point he borrowed the Ultima from B&H, but he just said he could not get past the price. And I agree with him. That's why I bought it used. Otherwise, there's no way in the world I would have paid for it. And I'd already been following it and made the decision to get it long before, before they actually came out with the Elgato Wave Pro. So at that point, it was down to me between the Neewer and this one. And the Neewer seems to be a pretty good mic arm, but if you watch Tom Buck's video, there's one where he discusses multiple mic arms that is called the cheap versus expensive low profile mic arms, what's worth the price. And he does have the Neewer in there, but in a later video he says that he did have some problems with it. So keep that in mind. And if you just want to look at the quality of the heads here, I think it's pretty obvious the quality, but I will say that I could live with any of these. I think all of these mic arms would serve someone well. I'm taking my Neewer to work. But that being said, I think it really comes down to price. How much can you afford, and what are you willing to pay for some of these things?